What's up, guys? Welcome back to our channel. And if it's your first time here, please do not forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you will always be updated with our family's events and adventures.
So today we are going to talk about moving from California to Texas. We are still reading on how a lot of people are still wanting to leave California. So we're here to share our experience from our move.
Yep, so for those of you who have been following us in our YouTube channel, you know that our family has moved a few months ago from Southern California to Texas. So this video basically is dedicated to share, like what he said, our own personal experience, what made us move, so that if you are in the same boat as we were a few months ago, hopefully you'll find this video insightful and useful. The first thing that we want to talk about is housing, right? If you are considering moving out of the state, one of the first things that you will probably think about is the affordability of buying a house where you're going to go. So here in Texas, comparing to California, the prices of the houses here are cheaper than California. That's why I think that's one of the major reasons why a lot of people are moving. Well,
Do keep in mind that, like the rest of the country, real estate prices are still going up. I mean, this house was a lot cheaper a year ago than when we bought. But again, towards our property in California was a lot cheaper a year ago than when we eventually sold it. So yeah, keep in mind prices are still going up.
Yeah. Now, what our family did is that, well, first, the fact that we could not actually afford to fly ourselves, the two of us plus our two little ones here in Texas, or have like a 2 to 3 day drive, we opted to buy a house virtually. We did.
We had yet to step foot in San Antonio when we purchased this house.
Yeah, we never
Call
saw.
us crazy or whatnot, but yeah, that's what we did. But what did we do first?
Well, what we did is that we studied the map. Okay, we identified the area that we really want to focus on in doing house hunting. A couple of things that we've considered, I'm going to talk to you about that in the next few minutes. But what we actually did is that we did hire a realtor who is based here in San Antonio.
Yes, we did.
Right. So if you are also considering doing something like that, make sure that you do take your time to interview realtors and make sure that you pick someone who's really going to be acting, and doing their job to your interest, for you and for your family, and not just for the heck of getting a sale out of you.
Out of all the realtors we initially talked to, we ended up interviewing 7 of them, and we finally narrowed it down to 1.
Yeah, it was tough, but we were very satisfied with whom we talked. Well, special shout out to Sergio. If ever you guys need a realtor here in San Antonio, he's your man.
He went above and beyond for us.
Yes.
That is true. Probably the point where most realtors would have said, just buy this house. He was going looking at houses and said, you know what, no, this house is not for you. You have to deal with this. You'll have to consider this.
So again, just make sure that you select someone who will really be looking out for your best interest. And then, for the most of our interaction are like on video chat. He's showing us some houses, and we finally ended up choosing one, and then we close, and then it's the house that we're living in right now. We were so happy. But yeah, housing is something that you really have to really focus on. You have to select your area. What we basically did is that we look at the map of San Antonio, and we really did our research, which area and things like that, until we finally pinpoint the zip code at least where we want to look into the house. And the rest is history, I guess.
I'm still trying to remember my zip code.
He still does not remember our zip code, mind you. He could not even pronounce our street name.
I can now.
All right, so again, I mean, in line with the housing, one thing that we also really looked into is the school district. So,
Gosh, there's so many schools around here.
yeah, there's so many schools. We do have 2 young boys, and it's very important that they go to a school that would really give them quality education. So where we're at here in San Antonio, they're actually one of the best school districts, and
So apparently we're one of the best top something school districts in the state, which is yay.
yep. And they are actually building a high school just
In
right
our
outside, almost in our backyard. So we're excited for that when the boys are older, so they will not have to travel that far because their high school is just right around the corner. And the schools here are huge. Oh my God, super big. Like probably comparing to how they are and where we used to live in Southern California, they're big here.
Yeah. All right, one of the topics that I personally had to deal with was work. I'm an owner-operator, so I drive my own truck, so I had to make sure I had work out here to support my family when we came out. And so I fortunately, our realtor actually hooked me up with a owner-operator who operates in the same city, and now we talk all the time. Because, hey, can you cover this load? Can you cover
His
that
new
load?
BFF.
Yeah. But I would ask like other people who did cross country and other stuff, and so I asked a buddy of mine. I said, "Hey, do you know anything about Workout San Antonio?" And his words, "Don't worry about it. There's tons of freight out of San Antonio." Well, no, there's not tons of freight coming out of San Antonio. When you compare it to the Inland Empire, where I was based out of, that was tons of freight. Don't be wrong, there's lots of freight coming in and out of San Antonio, but there's certain things you need to learn about it. Most of the freight does not come in, or does not leave San Antonio. It comes in from Laredo, which is down by the border town. And that's where most of the work is going from, to and from that area that I've been able to find. I did a one run to Dallas. Oh, that was a nightmare. Freight going out of Dallas is a lot cheaper than going in. So I ended up spending hours trying to find something reasonable and ended up just driving back. And I barely made it back on my clock. I was running out of hours. I had like literally 5 minutes left on my clock. I took a screenshot and sent it to all my buddies. Well, dude, this is the closest I've gotten to ever running out my clock out. I've been to Houston a few times. That's a nice little run. It's pays all right. But it's a good run. It can be difficult finding good stuff coming out of Houston, but like I said, most of the good paying loads are coming out of Laredo back to San Antonio or Houston or Austin area. That's where most of the work comes from. So yeah, there's work out there. It's just not as much as everyone was claiming to be.
Yeah, well, as with me, I am blessed that, the company that I work for in California, we also do have a big office here in San Antonio that is probably like 8 to 10 miles from where we live. So it was a blessing that, a few months after we moved in here, I'm still working from home, but I am, I was able to successfully transfer. So if you are also like that, you are currently with a company and there's an opportunity for you to also move here to Texas. I mean, not only in San Antonio, but in Texas, and your company will be able to accommodate that because they operate also here. Then that's something that you might also consider doing.
There's also a lot. We also watch a lot of other videos that talk about working, and they said, you know what? I believe, especially on this side, which is the west side, there's a huge medical facility where they handle like nurses or something, whatnot. But they did talk about the banking industry and other places. Now, I always go to a Valero to buy my fuel, and they'll have like a $300 signing bonus.
There's jobs in here in San Antonio. Of course, it just depends on your field. Like what he said, like if you are into like the banking industry and medical industry, there's some jobs waiting for you.
Now I know there is a company up in Comfort that is really looking for welders, but you know, Comfort's about 30-45 minutes north of San Antonio up to 10. So
Yep.
I was just talking to one of the people there the other day, and he says, look, we need welders. We need welder fabricators for certain things.
If you're heading here to Texas, make sure that you do your research as with regards to what you're doing, job related, you know, and go from there.
So one of the things I want to talk about is the actual traffic. Now, there is traffic out here. You know, don't let anyone fool you saying, there's no traffic. There is. Certain parts of San Antonio get some pretty good traffic during certain parts of the day, but it's nowhere near as close as, like, say, the LA traffic.
Or the Orange County traffic.
Or Orange County traffic.
The 57 traffic.
57 was brutal. But San Antonio, along with a couple other cities we have seen, has this really awesome system where they have a loop that literally goes around the whole entire city. I guess they're going to expand on parts of the loop. Someone was telling me that. We have not driven the whole loop yet. I've driven a good portion of it, but not the whole thing yet. But we live near the outer loop, which is the 1604. There's an inner loop called the 410. Yes. I'm still remembering all these freeways. So the loop system is actually very easy. When you exit it, you drive on what's called a frontage road, and then you either go straight on to where you're going. Usually when you hit the street you want to hit, say like Culebra or Shanefield, right around our area, you go left, right, but they also have a dedicated U-turn lane. So say I'm going north on the loop and I want to go to a Walmart that's on the other side, I go all up to the next street, take the U-turn. Well, all I gotta do is yield to oncoming traffic, but usually I have my own lane coming in for a certain amount of time, and I get over to where the Walmart is. It's a very simple system, and I like the way it works. Now, once you get down into downtown San Antonio, that's when things get a little crazy. We have a lot more freeway systems to go through.
Like a downtown LA kind of thing.
No, not as bad. Not as bad.
That's how I felt.
Downtown LA had a crazy freeway system that just, you have to, if I didn't grow up driving those streets, I don't know what I would do. Even with GPS, it becomes confusing. But here it's confusing because it's new. Especially when you have an upper and lower 10 freeway. I'm like, what's upper, what's lower? You just, follow my GPS.
Yep. Up until now, there are still a lot of places wherein we use our GPS on our phone whenever we go, before we start driving, because it was just we're still learning the place.
I like to keep my GPS on for traffic updates and exactly know where I'm going or where my turn is. The problem is now I rely on my GPS. I've been doing this for a long time, and now it's like, I have no idea where I'm going without my GPS. So it's like I don't remember the roads because I just follow the words telling me, and I don't memorize it. Yeah, it's.
All right, then as parents, another thing that we actually took into consideration is selecting, like, we kind of like talked about the area earlier, but when we say area, like we're talking about how safe it is in that area and the crime rate. Of course, we also did our own research on that, and then with the help of our realtor, he kind of like guided us on which are the more desirable areas to look at, So we are very satisfied with the location of our house. This community is like probably not more than 2 years old.
No.
Yes, and then we are kind of like a little bit secluded from all of the craziness in this area. We're actually in the far west side of San Antonio, which is still booming, I would say, right?
Oh yeah, there's still open new divisions out here.
There's a lot of development going around, but
Even this complex is not even finished yet. You
yep,
got like
there's
two more
still
streets to do.
yeah. So if you're looking for houses, we could be neighbors. They're still building and continuously building houses in this community. Since we actually moved here a few months ago, we have, we haven't felt anything that would really trigger our worry when it comes to safety.
No.
So we have that peace of mind. And if whether you're a family or an individual moving out of the state, that it should be one of your top priorities to consider: safety and crime rate. Crimes happen everywhere, so you just have to be very, vigilant, and always, keep your radar on.
Radar?
Yeah, for anything.
Radar, okay. So last but not least is probably a question on everyone's mind who is considering about moving out here is cost of living. Now I've really scrutinizing some of the stuff we spend out here, and I got to tell you the cost of living is not that much different from California. Now there's a lot of differences. For example, we talk about housing. We bought a much bigger house than we had in California for almost the same price, okay? But when you look at like groceries, I feel like we spend a little bit more in groceries, even though Nana says that no, this is cheaper and this is cheaper, but our grocery bill is actually a little bit more. Another thing that I've noticed.
Wait. It's because our kids are now eating more. They're not anymore just breastfeeding.
But we're not buying formula. So yeah, we're scrutinizing, but we're scrutinizing why we're spending more, but we're spending more at the grocery store, even with these two kids. Another thing that I want to point out is haircuts. That's the first thing I noticed. I used to pay $14 for a haircut. Now you might say, "Oh my gosh, that's a good price," and I pay $50. You're paying way too much. Seriously, no. But I'm paying $25 for the boys and $30 for me. Now you might say, "Hey, that's what I pay for out here," but that's not what I was paying out in California. I had a small little barbershop I went to. They raised the prices from 12 to 14. I said, "No problem." I still give them a tip. I was happy. They're literally like a half mile from my house. It's the closest barber to my house. Old house, not this house. Old house in California. Here it's $30 for a guy's haircut. And that's a barber, not a salon. So that's one of the things that I've noticed, that you kind of pay more. Some of the fast food places we go to is a little more expensive. For one, a Jollibee's was like what? Don't laugh at me.
Well, in California, like a 6-piece bucket of Chicken Joy was like $6.99 or $7.99.
A 10-piece is $20 here.
Yes.
Jollibee's, same Jollibee's. Don't ask about KFC. I ain't going to KFC.
He only eats Jollibee when it comes to fried chicken, and if I cook fried chicken, that's
exactly. Our electric bill is a lot cheaper, and we actually have an AC, an air conditioning unit. In our old house, we had the portable one. You plug into the window. We cool down 2, maybe 3 rooms at a time before we run out of power and blow some circuits. Yeah. Here we have central air. Central air. And our bill is still lower than we were in Rancho Cucamonga, California. But with that being said, our water bill is a lot higher. And we are trying to use less and less and less water. But We were actually watering our lawn, where our old house, our dog chewed up all our irrigation and sprinklers. But we had a pool, so we had to fill the pool in. So you figure the pool versus sprinklers would balance each other out. Don't know, but our water bill is a lot higher. Gas is going up like crazy. But from what I understand, gas is going up even more crazy in California. Diesel right now is at $3.25 a gallon. When we moved out here, it was $2.50 something, $2.57 a gallon. Don't ask about gas. I don't pay attention to gas. I just fill my take up and go.
Well, I think for gas, the last time that I filled up my tank, it was at 265, 69 or 279 a gallon.
When was the last time you actually drove your car?
Because I rarely put gas in because I don't drive that far. I work from home.
Now, I've been doing a lot of trips in my car from the east to west side, so I've actually been filling up on a weekly basis, but I think gas is a couple, like 10, 20 cents cheaper than diesel. So just keep that in mind.
But yeah, comparing to how much it is right now in California. And we're shooting this video towards Halloween of 2021, okay? So you will have a point of reference. What I've heard is that the gas in Southern California is like over $4 per gallon.
I know diesel at a truck stop is almost $5.
Yeah.
That's at truck stop. They're always more expensive over there.
That's primarily one reason why we moved out, because of that one factor right there.
That was a huge consideration for us to move out.
Especially with his business.
Yes. Another thing about cost of living, you may have heard that Texas does not have income taxes. Okay, we still got to pay federal, of course. You know, the government's got to get their money, but no income taxes. But where Texas makes up for that shortfall is the property taxes is a lot higher.
Yeah.
We are looking at what, 3 times as much property tax than we were in California.
Sales tax is higher too.
Yes. I think sale tax is like what, 8.25 here? Or is it 8.75?
Yeah, 8.25. In Southern California, I think most are running at 8%. Yeah, but which I kind of like because you are being taxed on your consumption. You know, when you buy something, you pay a higher sales tax, which is all right as compared to being taxed on your income. You know, that's a money that you could keep in your bank or save in your savings account, but you're being taxed on it. So I really like that you're being taxed on consumption versus your income.
Okay. I prefer not to be taxed at all. Come on now. It's my money. I earn it.
All right. Well, that's it for you guys. Those are probably like the 6 major things that we really wanted to talk to you about. Again, this is just purely based on our own experience relocating from Southern California to San Antonio, Texas. Please tell us what you think in the comment below. If you have any questions, you can definitely reach out. And again, do not forget to subscribe. And if there are any other videos that you actually would like us to make, right? Like how it is here in San Antonio, like a comparison of the actual living, you know, between 2 states. Let us know if that's something that might interest you.
All right, so we'll see you in our next video. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.
Bye, guys.